And hello, X-Men fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Zone Team Entertainment with me, your host, Jonathan, once again bringing you my thoughts and review for today's episode of X-Men 97, Season 2, Episode 4. So, X-Men 97, Season 2, Episode 4. I'm going to put some spoilers in here, so if you guys not seen this episode, good luck. Also, where's our trailer, Marvel? I will continue saying this until Marvel releases the Doomsday trailer. Even though I'm pretty sure it's going to be dropped on Comic-Con, but you never know. Anyway, so let's talk about Season 4, Season 2, excuse me. Yeah, this episode was awesome. Just, a little recap. We all know that the X-Men got separated. Some teams, some of the X-Men went to the past, and some of the X-Men went to the future. We already went to the future where Nathaniel is destined to be the one to destroy Apocalypse. He grows up to become Cable. We all know the rest. Now we're in the past. Now, we saw part 1 last week where the X-Men, Charles Xavier, Magneto, Nightcrawler, Rogue, and of course Beast, they're all trying to find a way to get Apocalypse on their side before he becomes Apocalypse. He's on Sabanur right now, and Rata-Tut is the king, also known as Kang the Conqueror. He's there trying to, make sure Apocalypse becomes who he is. And also, there's some power source that he wants, and he wants to get it. So, we see him running, Egypt with his technology from the future. Charles is trying to get into his mind, trying to figure out who the heck is this guy, trying to talk to him. Kang in this episode is funny because he just goes, oh yeah, I go by many names. Kang the Conqueror, Nathaniel Richards. By the way, if you don't know who that name is, that is Reed Richards' great, I think great 4 generations grandkid. So he's related to Reed Richards in the future. So, yeah. So Kang, he's basically Rata-Tut over there doing his thing. And Apocalypse, in this opening episode, we get to see him hold one of his friends in his arms. The one who pretty much took care of him as he was getting older when his mom abandoned him. And, he's kind of not trusting the X-Men, not really sure. They're trying to find a way to get him to be on their side. If they don't want him to go to the dark side. He goes to the dark side, all hell breaks loose. And, he has his friend in his arms. He's angry, he's pissed off. He's mad at Magneto for lying to him about a lot of different things. He's also angry at Charles for the same reasons as well. So, he's trying to keep his cool. Then they go to this pyramid that ends up finding hieroglyphics that has depictions of Apocalypse becoming this great god because he's the first mutant. And then that's where everything goes to chaos. So before all that actually does happen, I got to talk about one of the things that was actually really cool. We get a cool moment here where and Sabanur talks to Rogue about, oh yeah, because they're about to get ready. Bishop's back there as well. They're all trying to go back home. He's got the technology to go back home. And they're all getting ready to oh yeah, there's nothing we can do here. We try to change him as much as we can. Hopefully destiny changes for him and live for the best. But we got to get back to the 90s. So Apocalypse asks, hey, you okay? You ready to go home? And she's like, no, nothing's there for me. I lost all of my life. And he just goes, love, weakness. So I thought that was a pretty interesting scene. But yeah, Rogue is dealing with that grief, dealing with the fact if they go back in time, maybe they can try to save Genosha from, being destroyed in the first place. And, maybe save Gambit and all the other mutants who were there and also people who were there. But remember, time travel has ripples. All the time travel that happens causes ripples, and that ripples cannot be fixed. No matter how much you try to change it, won't fix the official river for those ripples to start. Can't go back in time and throw a stone and then try to make the water nice and flat. You can't do that because once the ripples happen, the river is pretty much changed regardless of how, even if it stays steady. So yeah, Beast is trying to find a way to have everybody have peace, so that way they go come together and try to find a good solution for everybody to win. Nightcrawler's doing his religion thing because he believes it could be a sin that if they keep going back in time and changing things. it can really anger the gods. So there's that. Then, of course, you have Bishop, who pretty much knows about time travel more than anybody. And he goes, yeah, no matter how much you go back in time, nothing's going to change. It's always going to be the same thing. That's why Cable's always finding Apocalypse. He's always trying to find ways to find Apocalypse. But no matter what he does, it's always going to be the same solution. So I feel like if they try to went back, try to make him a good guy at the end of this episode, I think somehow he still would have turned. Maybe he would have adopted a cat, and then the cat got ran over. And then he was like, I hate humans. So there is really no way of saving Apocalypse. So there you go. Also, we get to see this weird pyramid thing that shows up. And then, we see Charles talking to, Ratatouille about, and then something about destiny. We also saw that. That was pretty cool. We also get to see them in the temple. They all split up as well. Charles, Magneto, and Sabanur go one side of the temple, where it's got like these hieroglyphics. You find out a Celestial pretty much sent it there. And it was not only any Celestial, it was a Celestial that we saw in Guardians of the Galaxy, the one with the Power Stone. So we got to see that. That was pretty cool. So it looks like he had foretold all this, because if you know in the comics, the Celestials are kind of the responsible ones to give us the mutants in the first place. So there's that. And also the fact that once Apocalypse saw all that, and he saw the pictures of himself being like this great leader and god against everyone, because everybody to Apocalypse are all insects, because that's what he does. He calls them that. And he just loses it. They all charge at him. They try to calm him down. Doesn't work. Rogue fights him. Doesn't work. All the power she has, nothing. Nightcrawler teleports him somewhere else, because he doesn't want him to go inside to that temple to get power or get more knowledge of who he really is. And it looks like Nightcrawler got his arm broken off in this episode, so I'm not really 100% sure on that. It looked like a broken arm. He snapped it, so I'm not 100% sure it broke or didn't, but still, he teleported. Yeah, nobody was able to touch him. Magneto came close, but nothing. And then, of course, Apocalypse goes into the tomb, and then he becomes Apocalypse that we all know from the future. The armor, everything, he transforms. So cool. And then, of course, Apocalypse is about to charge at everybody, and then Cable's Bishop is like, nope, we're out of here. He even powers up and shoots him too. Nothing fazed him. I'm telling you, Apocalypse is crazy. And then they all get out of there and go to the past, or go to the future, 97 future. And except for Charles. Charles stay behind because he needs to protect Magnus or Magneto. And then the two of them try to stop him again. Doesn't work. Magneto at one point was like holding him with metal, trying to make a sarcophagus, trying to lock him up in there. Doesn't work. And then he goes and tries to protect the people from Egypt, because he was about to destroy everything with the ship. And then Kang took one look at the ship and he just goes, this is a great scene. He just looks at the ship and he goes, yep, I'm out. Yep, everything here didn't work out in my favor. I'm cool. I'm going to go home. So he takes his ship out of the ground, and he just, or his teleport thing that he has, takes it, puts on his iconic Kang the Conqueror costume, and he just bounces like that. And his royal disciple is like, the hell? She just looks baffled. That's what I'm just trying to say in a clean way. She's just trying to be. She looks baffled. Now, obviously, she can't be destroyed because she's immortal. So only an immortal like her can kill her. So there you go. She's a very powerful mutant, and I just forgot the name of the character. Anyway, then Magneto gets beat, and then he falls to the ground. Him and Charles are trying to crawl to each other. Magneto gets picked up by the head and then vaporized. Now, not exactly sure if he's officially dead, but he could be. But then again, we have seen Apocalypse destroy people only for them to come back as his horsemen. So maybe Magneto comes back as a horseman in the future episode. I don't know, maybe. There's also, I also had a cool theory that, maybe it is true, maybe it's not, that because Charles tried to talk to him about how, I'm sorry, my friend, I'm sorry for this. They both try to apologize with, his psychic mind. So I thought maybe he takes his consciousness and puts inside his own, in Charles' own mind. So that way, eventually, the two of them can become one and become Onslaught. Now, if you don't know who Onslaught is the merger mutants of Charles Xavier and Magneto. Pretty much a fusion dance in a way, without the fusion dance. Dragon Ball Z. Anyway, so that could be a thing. I'm not really sure. Maybe they'll tease that later on. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, Magneto's gone. His helmet was on the floor, and Apocalypse just leaves Charles there. I thought he was gonna kill him, but nope. He just leaves him there to just cry, die on his own. He's in the middle of Egypt, so I didn't think anything could happen. So they're gonna have to go back again to go pick him up so he can go home. But we shall see. But yeah, this was a very good episode. I enjoyed it. Just seeing the power and the strength of Magneto trying to fight Apocalypse, who's already at the point of unstoppable. It's just crazy. And yeah, poor Magneto. He tries so. I think he's gonna come back as a horseman, just like I think Gambit's gonna come back as a horseman, because they kind of teased it with him. With Gambit being a horseman when one of his cards was there, and Apocalypse picks it up and just starts laughing. So that could be a thing. Who knows? We'll see. And then it ends there. But then there's actually an after credit here, which is kind of cool. And it looks like they might set up the next episode. Remember, the future, Scott, Jean, Storm, and Wolverine, they're all back in the 90s. So Wolverine's on top of a roof, and then Captain America shows up, and Black Widow shows up. The two of them come, they talk to him, they give him a file, and the file says Weapon X. Now, this could mean next week's episode is Wolverine trying to get the adamantium back. If you guys remember from the last season, Magneto took out Wolverine's adamantium out of his body, just ripped it out. Right out of his body, so that's why he has the bone claws now in this season. So that could be the next episode, but 2 episodes from now, I don't know. But that was kind of cool. Hopefully Wolverine gets his adamantium back, because he's gonna need it to try to fight Apocalypse. But the bone claws ain't gonna help. Yeah, they're strong, but they're not that strong. He needs the adamantium back. I think I hope maybe in the next episode we get to see something's like kind of broken in Logan. He's not as I feel like as good as a character he is without the adamantium, it makes him more of a better character and a better, tracker with the adamantium, because he has limits now. Yes, he can still heal and all that stuff, but he still has limits. With the adamantium, he doesn't have limits, so we shall see how it is. But anyway, that's all. That was the episode. I really enjoyed it. I love the episode because it really shows how powerful Apocalypse is, and there's no way you could turn him. There is no way you can turn him. He's not like Thanos, like in What If, where you made Thanos a good guy and it's like, yeah, it's cool, but no, Apocalypse is on good guying. You can't make him a good guy. It's impossible. So yeah, and seeing Magneto try as hard as he could to try to stop him, nothing. Charles tried to. Kang the Conqueror is going to be a threat someday, but we just don't know when. But he'll be back. We'll see him again soon. And yeah, I thought it was a great episode. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Did you guys enjoy it? Not enjoy it? What do you think about Apocalypse? Do you think they could have made him a good guy if you would have just listened to them? Do you think Magneto's actually dead, or you think he's going to be a horseman and come back to life like he did in X-Men Evolution? If you've never seen that show, go watch it. It's a very good show. Whatever it is, leave me a comment below. Let me know. Stay tuned for more. Thank you very much, and have a good night.